Welcome to Breaking News to Trading Moves.
Hey there.
So today we are looking at a very specific business headline. Our goal for you is to review this news item and just, break down the clear winners and losers based purely on the facts provided.
Right. And it's a measurable situation we're looking at today.
Exactly. So the central headline we are analyzing is this. Starbucks shares moved higher after the company raised its annual forecast. And this shows that Chief Executive Officer Brian Niccol's turnaround plan is, well, it's gaining traction.
Yeah, gaining traction is a good way to put it, because to understand the market's reaction, we really have to look closely at the physical execution of this plan.
Yeah.
It's not just abstract goals. The strategy is built on a few core components. We are talking about simpler menus, faster service, more staffing, obviously, better store technology, and stronger customer loyalty.
Okay, so those 5 elements are essentially the structural foundation of what is happening right now at the company. Well, let's explore the mechanics of how those pillars are actually performing, because we have some very specific data here.
We do, yeah.
Average visits per Starbucks location rose 5.9% during the January and March quarter.
Right.
And furthermore, customer traffic improved across all income groups.
Yeah, and that 5.9% increase in average visits per location, that gives us a very clear picture of consumer behavior in real time.
It really does.
Because when a company with the sheer physical footprint of Starbucks sees nearly a 6% increase in foot traffic across its established locations, and in a single quarter, no less, it tells us that the operational changes are directly altering daily consumer routines.
So they have a 5.9% increase in traffic, which is great on paper.
Definitely.
But when you look at the demographic data, it is not just wealthy customers. It is across all income groups.
Which is key.
Right? It tells us something broader about how everyday people are justifying their spending right now. We are seeing a distinct willingness to spend on affordable, premium experiences.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It is not just about a cup of coffee. It is about what people are actively choosing to prioritize when they step up to the counter.
Right, because if consumers are spending, despite economic uncertainty, restaurant chains with strong brands, loyal customers, and established pricing power become immediate winners.
Oh, for sure.
The willingness to pay a premium proves that certain brands hold a unique place in a consumer's daily routine. They possess pricing power because the customer perceives the value of the experience to be worth the cost, regardless of macroeconomic pressures.
Think about it think about the mindset of opting for an upgraded seat on a flight.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Right. Even when budgets are tight and you are scrutinizing your spending, you are still choosing to pay a little extra for a reliably better experience.
Exactly.
You might cut back on taking a major international vacation, but you will absolutely pay for the extra legroom on a domestic flight because the immediate comfort is tangible.
Yeah, you know exactly what you're getting, and it makes the journey better. And you see that same upgraded seat mentality playing out across the broader restaurant landscape. People aren't necessarily buying the cheapest lunch or the cheapest beverage anymore.
Right, they want quality.
Yeah, they are buying the most reliable midday escape. The predictable quality of the experience justifies the premium price in the mind of the consumer.
It's a calculated indulgence.
Exactly, a calculated indulgence. They are trading up in small, manageable ways. And this dynamic creates a distinct category of premium coffee and restaurant turnaround winners.
Okay, so let's talk about those.
Yeah, companies that operate in this specific lane, affordable luxury, with a highly loyal customer base, they benefit directly when consumers demonstrate this exact purchasing behavior.
So if you look at the premium space, you see this behavior benefiting names like Starbucks, ticker SHBUX.
Right.
But we also see this extending to fast casual players like Kava Group, ticker CAVUA, and Shake Shack, ticker SHAK.
Yes, CAVA and SHAK operate with very similar dynamics to SBUX in this context.
Oh, so?
Well, they are not the cheapest options in their respective categories. Instead, they offer an elevated menu, a strong brand identity, and a physical environment that consumers are demonstrably willing to pay a premium for right now.
Right. That makes sense.
When a consumer chooses a customized Mediterranean bowl or, a made-to-order premium burger, they're making a deliberate choice. They prioritize the quality of the experience over strict value pricing.
Delivering that premium experience consistently is a completely different challenge, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Handling a 5.9% increase in traffic without creating absolute chaos requires precise back-end operations.
Yes, it
You
does.
cannot just market a premium experience to the public. You actually have to execute it flawlessly during peak hours.
And that is exactly why Starbucks is focusing heavily on better store operations, shorter wait times, and a more efficient order flow.
Right.
Because when you simplify the menu and add more staffing, the ultimate operational goal is throughput.
Just moving people through.
Exactly. How many orders can you process accurately and quickly? If the order flow is cumbersome, the premium experience degrades instantly.
Because nobody wants to wait.
Right. A customer will happily pay for a premium product, but they will not wait 20 minutes for it. Therefore, the back-end technology orchestrating that order flow becomes critical to the entire business model.
Okay, so this brings up a pointed question regarding the broader industry.
Okay, let's hear it.
Does a focus on speed and labor efficiency mean the larger restaurant sector will be forced to spend more on software and workforce technology? Kind of like orchestras suddenly needing a better conductor to play a faster tempo.
I like that. Yeah, the orchestra cannot simply play faster without better coordination, or the entire performance falls apart.
Exactly.
If large chains are spending massive amounts of capital to improve their speed, their labor efficiency, their digital ordering, and just their overall customer flow, the companies that provide the software and workforce technology to make that happen see a direct, measurable benefit.
Right, they're the essential tools.
Yeah, this makes technology paramount across the entire restaurant sector. You are moving from human coordination to software-driven orchestration.
So let's outline those restaurant technology and operations winners.
Sure.
The specific tickers here are Toast, ticker TOST-OLO, ticker OLLO, and Paycom Software, ticker PAYC.
Yeah, these are the structural winners behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Think about how a company like OLO actually functions in a live environment.
Okay.
It facilitates the actual transaction and order routing. So instead of a customer placing a mobile order, a cashier seeing it on a tablet and then manually punching it into the kitchen system.
Which takes time.
Exactly. OLO routes that digital order directly to the kitchen display screens. That cuts out maybe 30 seconds of human interaction per order.
Wow, 30 seconds.
Yeah, and compounded over 1,000 orders a day across thousands of locations, that equals clear labor savings and error reduction.
That makes total sense. And then you have a workforce management tool like PAYC handling the labor side of the equation.
Right. Because when a store manager is trying to optimize staffing levels to meet variable traffic demands.
Like the morning rush.
Exactly. Knowing exactly when a sudden influx of customers is going to hit. They need precise workforce technology. You cannot afford to be overstaffed at 2 in the afternoon or understaffed at 8 in the morning.
Yeah, that kills margins.
For sure. Predictive workforce software is how these chains maintain their margins while handling higher volumes.
So those are the operational tools required to handle the volume. But the increased traffic at Starbucks also tells us something broader about consumer discretionary spending as a whole, right?
It does. The improved traffic gives a positive read-through for the wider restaurant and consumer discretionary space.
Okay.
We can expand this to consumer discretionary winners that rely heavily on repeat visits, brand strength, and overall consumer confidence.
Right, the habitual stops.
Yeah. If people are establishing routine, habitual visits for premium coffee, they are also likely maintaining routine visits for lunch or dinner at established, trusted brands.
Which means we need to mention the tickers for these broader foot traffic winners. McDonald's, ticker MCD. Chipotle Mexican Grill, ticker CMG. And Yum Brands, ticker YUM.
Yeah, MCD, CMG, and YUM all depend heavily on habitual consumer behavior. They need that repeat customer acting on a predictable schedule.
Right.
If the data from SBUX shows that the consumer is willing to maintain their habits and spend across all income groups, well, these massive discretionary brands are positioned perfectly to capture that ongoing, predictable foot traffic.
Okay, so we have covered the companies that benefit.
Yeah.
But we also need to look at the other side of the equation.
Yes, the losers.
A stronger Starbucks naturally creates a tougher environment for direct competitors.
The competitive landscape is rarely forgiving. If Starbucks successfully improves its service speed, wins back its former customers, and strengthens its loyalty engagement, smaller coffee, breakfast, and beverage competitors face immediate, pronounced pressure.
I have to challenge that premise just a bit, though. If Starbucks is bringing more foot traffic to the coffee and breakfast sector as a whole, doesn't a rising tide lift all boats?
You would think so, but
Like, if more people are out buying breakfast, wouldn't smaller competitors catch some of that overflow, rather than strictly being forced into a defensive posture?
It is a logical assumption, I'll give you that, but we have to look at the mechanics of consumer loyalty here.
Okay, walk me through it.
The morning coffee routine is highly habitual. It is not typically a shared occasion. It is a replacement occasion.
Ah, I see.
Right. If a consumer decides to return to Starbucks because the wait times are shorter and the app experience is better, they are simultaneously deciding not to visit the competitor down the street. It is a zero-sum transaction in the morning routine.
But wait, if the line at Starbucks is wrapped around the building because traffic is up nearly 6%, doesn't the customer just drive across the street to a competitor out of sheer impatience?
Sure.
How is that a total loss for the competitor?
Well, that happens occasionally, but it is becoming much less frequent because of mobile app lock-in.
Oh, right, the app.
Yeah, the modern consumer is often ordering 10 minutes before they even arrive at the physical store. Once that mobile order is placed and paid for, it is a sunk cost.
They are committed.
Exactly. They are locked into that specific transaction regardless of the physical line when they pull up. By improving the digital experience and the speed of service inside the store, Starbucks captures the transaction before the customer ever sees the drive-thru line.
Which means the competitor actually loses that visit entirely before the customer even leaves their house.
Precisely. And because of that lost occasion, the facts indicate that competitors may need to spend heavily on promotions, pricing discounts, or aggressive marketing just to defend their current traffic.
They have to pay to keep people.
Right. They have to actively fight to keep the customers they have, which compresses their own financial models.
Let's look at the specific tickers for the competitive losers in this category.
Okay.
We are talking about Dutch Bros, ticker BROS, Krispy Kreme, ticker DNUT, and Wendy's, ticker WEN.
Yeah, these are the names that have to execute flawlessly to maintain their market share against a revitalized market leader. BROS operates directly in the drive-through beverage space.
Right.
DNUT and WEN compete aggressively for that morning breakfast and coffee transaction. When the market leader improves its execution and speeds up its service, these competitors are forced to react.
Usually by spending money.
Exactly, often by deploying capital toward defensive promotions just to maintain their existing customer base.
Which brings us to the most critical reality check in this entire review.
Yeah, the margins.
Right. We have to transition from the top-line traffic to the bottom-line reality. Defending traffic and improving service both require heavy investment.
You cannot implement faster service, deploy better technology, and hire more staffing without paying for it. It just doesn't work.
And the data lays this out clearly. North American margins for Starbucks fell to 9.9% from 11.6% a year earlier.
That is a clear drop.
Yeah, and the stated reason for that margin decline is higher labor investment. Let's contextualize what a 1.7% margin drop actually means. For a global operation generating billions in revenue, a 1.7% drop is a measurable hit to profitability.
It really is. A decline from 11.6% to 9.9% means that for every single unit of revenue coming in, a smaller percentage is making it to the bottom line as actual profit.
Right.
The unit economics change dramatically when you increase hourly wages or mandate an extra barista for every morning staffing schedule across thousands of stores.
It adds up fast.
Yeah. You are actively choosing to make less profit on every individual cup of coffee sold, meaning the overall volume has to increase substantially just to maintain the same absolute profit.
Think about it like throwing a fantastic dinner party.
Okay.
The house is packed, the music is perfect, and everyone is raving about the food. But the next morning you look at the catering bill and realize you actually lost money by hosting it. Right. You achieved the goal of getting people in the door, but the cost to serve them ate into the actual financial success of the event. That is exactly what is happening to Starbucks' North American margins right now.
The dinner party catering bill is a highly accurate way to frame the margin dilemma.
Thanks.
And, this Starbucks margin decline serves as a glaring warning for margin-sensitive restaurant operators across the board.
Definitely.
More staffing and better service can absolutely improve traffic, as we saw with the 5.9% increase in visits, but they inherently hurt profitability. You are trading margin percentage for transaction volume.
And not every company has the sheer volume to make up for that lost margin.
No, they don't.
So let's read the tickers for these margin-sensitive losers. We are looking at Brinker International, ticker EAT Darden Restaurants, ticker DRI, and Dine Brands Global, ticker DIN.
These are full-service or highly margin-sensitive operators. EAT, DRI, and DIN manage massive labor pools across large physical footprints.
Right, because of the dine-in experience.
Yeah. In a full-service dining environment, the ratio of staff to customers is much higher than in fast food. You have wait staff, bussers, hostesses, and line cooks.
That's a lot of payroll.
It is. If the industry standard requires higher wages and more staffing just to keep the doors open and the customers happy, their margins are extremely vulnerable. They simply do not have the same throughput speed as a drive-through coffee concept to offset the increased labor costs.
That makes total sense. Now, there's one final group we need to cover based on the facts provided.
Right, the value group.
Exactly. If consumers are actively choosing the premium option, the brands that rely strictly on being the cheapest option lose their primary advantage.
Yeah, the market is constantly assessing where capital should be allocated based on observed consumer behavior. If investors see Starbucks as proof that consumers are still paying for premium convenience, money may rotate towards stronger brand stories and away from more value-sensitive or lower-margin names.
Because the consumer's speaking with their wallet?
Right. If the consumer is reliably choosing the premium option, the brands that rely entirely on discount pricing lose their primary market advantage.
So let's name the tickers for these value-focused and lower-margin food names. We have Jack in the Box, ticker JACK, Restaurant Brands International, ticker QSRR, and Wingstop, ticker WING.
If the consumer narrative is about rewarding premium convenience, companies like JACK, QSR, and WING face a tougher environment.
Sure.
Their operational models are built heavily on volume and value pricing. If consumer preference is leaning toward the upgraded experience, even at a higher cost, the value proposition loses some of its appeal in the marketplace.
Yeah, it really does. So to summarize the core facts we have reviewed for you today.
Oh, boy.
We are balancing the headline of increased traffic and successful turnaround strategies against the harsh realities of margin pressures.
Right.
The turnaround plan's simpler menus, faster service, better tech is driving a clear 5.9% increase in traffic. But the operational cost of handling that traffic is a drop in North American margins to 9.9% due to higher labor investment.
That is the trade-off.
It is. And this dynamic splits the market into clear winners and losers, separating those with pricing power and tech infrastructure from those vulnerable to margin compression and defensive marketing costs.
And the data dictates a very specific reaction across the sector based purely on these operational realities.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over based purely on the facts we have discussed today.
Let's hear it.
If consumers are proving they will pay for premium convenience right now, at what point does the cost of higher labor investment force those premium prices so high that even the most loyal customers are forced to reconsider their daily habits?
That is the real question. Thank you for joining us today.
This is not financial advice or buy or sell recommendations. This is purely the opinion of the author.